I have a pizza, man. Oh. I don't know what's going on with this freaking crappy internet. Let's put my phone in airplane mode. See if that helps. Turn off that RAM. I'm running out of ideas here. So it's called CSV. CSV equals open document. Open document calls right. Open document. Which passes in the IO tag. Okay. If the name contains the IO tag, we get the IO type. Basically, yeah, we need to test if it's a merge only type and the document is null. Maybe that should happen in here. Um, hmm. See how it is. Alright, got that thing to it. Everyone. Um, so what am I channel? How many followers do I have now on Twitch? 41. I had 42, so somebody unfollowed me. Oh well. No great loss. Uh, right, document base. So what I'm busy working on is, hold on, I just need to get something to drink. And then also, so put out Twitch chat. Maybe I need to call it. Okay, audio signer. um, Right. Okay. This stream says live programming, but I think it should just be live fetching coffee. So right, I need. I spend more time fetching coffee than anything. This. So I'm busy working on this import stuff. Hold on, I just need to do this really urgent tweet. Okay. I'm working on some cool. Right. And everyone. Let's retweet. I need. Is that copy and paste doesn't work properly from that side to that side. Oh, there we go. That's dedication. I've got dedicated viewers there. I'm gonna retweet. That might be good for 1 or 2 followers. I'm not doing game dev. periscope. Um, Tweeting is such a pain. Not trigger me. Twitch. I'm 7. Here we go. Tweet. Done. Now I promise, no more tweets. Now I want to try focus on this damn work. Like focus, which means phasing Twitter and all this other nonsense. I want to get some really useful stuff done now. Okay. It's been a while since I've heard from live EDU users. I wonder. Live edu, live coding. Oh, there's what is rooms thing? Rooms. No rooms yet. Friday night is always the best time to get quite new followers. Everyone is on the internet. Okay. Right, I'm working on this import stuff. Okay, focus now on this import stuff. This is like here's the problem, right? You want to import we call open recent frame open document, right? Frame open document, it's called. This now it's supposed to have an load data source, right? So why not load data source checks that pipe symbology. what? No, open document list. So unlink click calls open document. Open document checks if we got our path thing. If we do, it checks the IO registry if we have such an importer. If it does, if we have such an importer, then it calls load data source. Okay. Now, how we did load data source earlier in those changes we made was in the import stuff, right? On file layer import. Changes we made earlier today. Let's turn that fan down. 1. Okay. Changes we made earlier today. This stuff, okay. Where that if it's a merge import, then if the document is null, do that. Otherwise, take your data document, select data source, and load data source. So why not put this in load data source then? This thing about if the document is null. Why not just put it in load data source? Although load data source is supposed to be like the core thing, so maybe we must do like a wrapper for load data source. As if there aren't enough wrappers already. Or we must put it in the open document. Yeah, that's also a possibility. I don't see how many times load data source is called. Let's go through it a bit, right? So it's called from open document. Okay. It's called from this place, also in open document, or a normal file. It's called from do file open. How many different ways are there to open a damn document in this code? Load document, do file open, open data source, load data source. Who the hell knows what's going on? There's some logic to all of it. There really is. Might not seem like it. Okay. Do file open, like what? What? Do file open. Oh yeah, that's a file open, I guess. Okay. Why is that different from file import? And this isn't even the menu handler. Right. The come on, I need to close this side screen. I think I must turn it off because it keeps distracting me. Sometimes the side screens are just distracting. So we got do file open calls load data source. Two different places. I'm sure there must be ways to simplify this. It can't be this is the simplest, best way of doing all this, I reckon. Okay, then on file IO import also calls load data source. That's it. That's all that's called load data source. What calls do file open? Do file open is called by some of the stuff may be called by scripts as well. So do file open is called by the start page when you click on the open link. Straightforward. Open document is called also when you open from the start page. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. This must be simplifiable, really. This can't be. What I'm wondering and why I'm looking at all this confusing mess now is and I take full responsibility for this confusing mess because it's all mine. Okay. What I'm wondering is I want to add that check, like if the document is null and it's a merge only data source, then do on file new. I want to add that, but I want to find the smartest place to add it. Like maybe it belongs in open document. What does open document take? A file name? Hey, don't forget load MRU item. There's yet another one. That is deprecated. Oh, it just calls open document. It's there because some scripts call it. So to maintain Lua compatibility. Maybe I should work on something else. There's something else I want to work on. Equally exciting as this. In fact, more exciting even. Okay, shift F multi-threaded document access. That is also interesting stuff, but I'm not going to work on that now. So the question is, do we put this on file new stuff? Do file new stuff? Do we put it in load data source? Do we put it in open document? Open document is like supposed to be like a file open. Like same principle as that. This is like file import. What is the problem? The immediate problem I'm trying to solve is, okay, that we opened a CSV file, and the first time we opened it, we said file import wordlist or CSV, and it correctly pops up this dialog where we can, lets us set up all the basics of the document. However, okay, and that's fine and well. So when it gets here, it should, right? So when we actually get to import some stuff like French, Chinese, or whatever, let's try it again because I cancelled it by mistake. I didn't cancel it though, but I in effect cancelled it. File import, blah 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 blah. We set up our dictionary, blah 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 blah, and enable multi-field options, blah 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 blah. Import 3 rows. Wow, that's fascinating. Invalid progress value, wow. Ignore that for now. Number of entries imported, 3 of 3, right? That's very strange. This didn't even hit. This breakpoint didn't hit. What's going on here, man? So what we're working on here, just to recap, is very, very exciting stuff. There's something else that I want to work on also, and it's related to the importers, but it's got to do with if we import like an xlif file, I want to. Currently, if we import an xlif file, right, I can show you what happens with that. If we import an xlif file, come on, if we import an xlif file, what was I going to show again? Yes, right, if we import an xlif file, and let's go to enable this. Oh yeah, let's enable it, right, brilliant, okay. So import an xlif file. It opens as open xlif, and this, you know, we have xlif support in like TL translate that we're busy working on, and we can, and in the new multi-document search, we can open a xlif document, and it's fine, and you can view it and search it and do things with it. But and I'll show you the problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I just want to be. What I want to be able to do is basically it does a few small restructurings to the document to conform to how TLEX and TL term expect the document must look like. And what I want to do is change it so that, I don't want to change it, I want to change it so that you can edit the xlif more directly, so that you can actually use it as an xlif editor. That's what I want. I want you to be able to use the software kind of directly as an xlif editor in a way, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's get back to the problem that I was trying to solve, which is when you load this thing from the recently used list. Anyway, yeah, you load this thing from a recently used list, and we get and it's not supposed to be getting that's my problem. I don't want it to ever get it's this that's my problem. Oh dear, this now doesn't make sense if you're reading from the MRU. This is it right there in the code. Right. There's some other cool stuff I actually want to work on too. This multi-threaded document access. Anyway, that's going to do one thing at a time. So what I added now is if if it's a merge only, right? If it's a merge only, and if the document is null, let's just do that like that. Right. If document still null, return. I see we had a whole bunch of Twitch users. Is that why I suddenly had a bunch of extra views? Let me just check something here. Followers only chat, must have followed for 10 minutes. Recent raids. Body of 44. I saw a spike in the views. I'm like, what's going on? Anyway, that explains it. I thought it was an error. I thought that can't be right. 30 views. Anyway. Okay. I cannot tell it yet if this is a positive thing or negative thing. Anyway, so anyway, trying to focus here. I want to do this basically, but get data source name from the user. I wonder if this should happen before that. Get the data source name. No, I think this should happen first. How can you need to take care of a dirty document if document is null? That doesn't even make sense. How does it make sense? To take care of the document is not. Huh? There. uh, it's a bit involved to explain. Phew. Uh, anyway. Killer games. Let's go check out this profile. I'm just checking your stream. uh, what's going on there on your stream? That looks like, what is this? Linda? No, not Unity. Oh, Unity. Oh, hosting in the mic. Check that out. Action adventure game. Where should I follow? If I follow there, I'm probably gonna follow in the light. Yeah. I was just gonna follow back. Huh? I don't understand why there's no follow button. Building visual scripting blueprint. Hey, there you follow. Okay, there you go. Right. Great. Games. Currently working action adventure puzzle game. I don't know. Trying to figure out where I was now. Manage only. Manage only. load data source. It's really load data source that I don't want to put dialog stuff in load data source. Like, to me, load data source is like a core thing that shouldn't have UE stuff in it, apart from maybe progress dialog. That's why I don't feel right putting it in load data source. Feels to me more like something that goes around that. And that's why I suggested a wrapper, but we got enough wrappers. I don't want to add yet another load wrapper. So maybe what I could do is just add a helper. Something like, yeah, this could just be a helper. That's an idea. We could do something like put this in a function and then say check if merge only has stuff or something like that. And then it's easy to just put that in a few different places. Check if merge only importer create new doc or something. That's a horrible name. Check if check if check some stats. So I've been online now. Yeah, check if merge only importer try create new doc. That is horrible. Let's just add this just like that for now, and then let's also add it. But in order to add it elsewhere, we just need to do one small thing first, and that's this thing, which uses the index. Must rather not use the index, but the type, I think. Which means that its definition must change to not the index, unless you have a function to get, I don't know, get IO tags, name, tag type. No, yeah, so I think this should be GUID. It's a bit ugly, but yeah. Ew. Okay. Yeah, then we dump in the IO type, right? Just like that. And we change the name. And then yeah, we gotta do this after we got the IO type. Boom, like that. And then at some point, copy and paste this to let me just check something. copy and paste this whole thing. But yeah, I'm gonna do something more interesting in a minute. This stuff is a bit dry. What I want to do, that's a few more interesting things than this. Basically, let me pause this fan, it's pretty adding terribly to the sound. Yeah, so luckily we have the TVX here. I want to essentially something like this, where everything on the file in this case, everything on the body in that case, each of these units should become a node in the lemma list on the left. And so there's a number of things we need to do. It's going to be very unstable in the beginning to even consider this properly. But there's my hearing noises again in the house. But I think it's nothing, because I have an eye on my CCTV on the side. I should probably show the game project since there's quite a few people in the room. The imaginary, no one in spells. So effectively these lines of code, right? I want to copy and paste that into the MRU node, which is open document, the part that checks if we're opening using the pipe syntax. Yeah, basically yeah, but before if I registry get I type from tag, basically yeah, we want to do this. Okay, if it's a merge only type, and yeah, okay. So basically what should happen is then, if we're merging in if we click in the MRU on a merge only what's wrong now? Let's just the applications open. Binary, what is wrong? Dash. Oh, it doesn't like doing a map with TGUID in it. Okay. Fine, then we're going to use the something else, I don't know what, the tag name. No problem. We're going to do it one way or another. Okay, not the iron name, but the So the IO registry is like an object factory for IOs, which are yeah. So if we look at the application, it can load and save very many different formats, and some aren't even file formats. They're like relational databases in the backend. But the application itself, like, can work with all these different formats without knowing really much about the backend. So, and the way that is done is somebody in my front yard just what do you see? What is that? Somebody just shining a torch in my yard. That was weird. I don't know what. It looked like somebody shone a torch in my yard. Or flashlight, or whatever you call it in the US. Okay. The, right, so where was I? Click on the MRU. Yeah. So, yeah. So the application can work with many different formats in the backend, but the way you edit in the software, it presents the same user interface. So you almost don't even know what the backend is, in a way. You can work with that format, or on a relational database, or whatever the case may be. And it sort of abstracts away from you the details of the backend format. Whether it's an XML-based thing, or some other XML, or CSV, or whatever. And the way it does that is there's a generic input-output class that abstracts away, it's like an abstract base class, abstracts away all the functionality required to support a format. And all the different formats inherit from that. That base class is called IO. And this IO registry is like the object factory for those IO objects. Basically the object factory type of model for importers, exporters, file formats. So the application, just to do things like load a document or save changed entries, it just calls abstract functions, virtual functions in the IO base class. That, depending on what the format is, whether it's relational database backend or whatever it is in the backend, just as its own, whatever the implementation is for that format. It's a little more complex than that, so there's a few more other things going on. That's the basic principle. So the IO tag, alright, each thing in the object factory has, in the IO's object factory, has a special tag, which is 3 short characters, like the CSV import, or not 3, it can be more than 3, but it's a tag, like xlif import, tl-dict, or CSV, which kind of it puts behind the scenes for you. Okay, but now, yeah, the issue here is, each one also has a GUID, but I don't like GUIDs. I'm not a fan of GUIDs. Try not to use them except when really necessary. Okay. So the IO tag is this thing, data type tag. STWS, we just got a minus string type conversion from WX string to standard W string. And here again, GPI registry tags, tag. So So this is like metadata about the. So each IO has different capabilities, like capability bits almost in DirectX. Standard map, standard W string. Come on, what's wrong with that? Oh, yeah, doesn't. What's wrong with that? Yes, of course. Yeah, come on, what's wrong with that, man? Anyway, hold on. I'm very tired. Get IO tag function does not take. Oh yeah, we need IO type here. Okay. Finally. I thought this change was going to take like 10 minutes, and it's taken like the whole day. I want to get on with other things. Anyway. So here's the point now. If you click on this from the recent list, inside there's hidden in there in the shortcut, the CSV tag. So it knows to load the CSV, but there's no document, so it needs to. This is correct. Yeah, in other words, it's fixed now. The fact that it shows this dialog is wonderful. I'm happy. That means I can carry on now with other things. So we say French, Chinese, or French, English, whatever. I didn't say Chinese. I don't know why I said Chinese, because I'm looking at Chinese earlier. Our test document is French, Chinese. Sorry, that's why. But yeah, so now it should create the empty document correctly. Where let's just check. So the document manager creates the document. After calling do file new tlax. Eventually it should go to import CSV, and it should hit these breakpoints. It better hit these breakpoints. Why is it? Thank you. Okay, so it hits the breakpoint, and now it should have a DTD already. Yeah, damn, that's wrong. Damn it, this isn't right still. I think it isn't right. I think I know why it isn't right. It created it, it set up the document, but I think load data source, or whatever that function is called now, load data source. I think I know what the problem is. Load data source does this. Oops. That's a headache. So it creates the document, creates a DTD, and immediately closes it again, and then goes back to creating a default one. Man. I guess we can pass it a flag and say, don't do that. But it's just going to make this confusing code more confusing. So it does the do file new, sets up a document based on my French selection, calls load data source, which promptly deletes that document. Why isn't this a problem the other time we did this? Why isn't it a problem here? We create a document. It is a problem. If getDocument equals null, getDocument won't be null anymore. Well, they can be, but because it calls merge data source. Alright, that's easy enough. I forgot about this function. So what it should do, if it's a merge only data source and the document was null, like this, we're going to say the merge, right? Let's merge this true, and then we're going to do this, like we're going to do something like this. If we do merge data source. And what are the parameters? Setting this data source. So the data source is just a string representing, you know, it's got the tag, the I-type tag, and a few other things. I-type and these things I really don't like in there. I'm so tired of seeing these WX carries. I want to see them with a key. That's not right now. WX2. WX2S. No, WX2C. That's type and no MRU false because we're loading from the MRU, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, load data source. Okay. Why does this feel wrong still? Yeah, so we I've got this thing called a soft assert, which is a little bit different to an assert. It's the same as an assert, but it doesn't stop the program dead. What it does is it reports the assertion to us, literally using the internet. It reports it to our servers, and then carries on execution, a soft assert. So it's like an assert, but it basically reports the problem to us, but it's situations where the program can carry on. So it's things that shouldn't happen, but are not showstoppers. The software can carry on. It doesn't have to die. So it's like an assert, but it's things we should know about. So we can go in our system backend and see. So I'll be able to go in and see if that's been hit. You know. French, whatever. French, Chinese. Now let's check very carefully what's going on. I just rushed through this just now. I didn't check properly. The unlinked lect calls open document. Open document finds we got a tag, correct? It finds we merge only, so it calls do file new. Do file new tlex. I clicked OK, and now it does a create empty document, and it should in fact set up all the stuff for the document based on. Okay. So it creates the basic document and then continues with the import. So we can select like thingy Chinese or whatever. Up to 3 rows only imported, blah 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 blah. Ignore that error. That was right, except for one thing. Something doesn't make sense to me. Though it behaved perfectly correctly, but this breakpoint didn't hit. This breakpoint must hit. Or did it? Did this breakpoint hit? Help me, people. Did anybody notice? I guess not. So voila, we got our French-Chinese entry, but why didn't the breakpoint hit? Maybe it did and I just hit F5 without thinking. French-Chinese English test. Wait, I know why. Maybe load dictionary doesn't get called because we're now in merge data source, right? Merge data source probably calls a different function. It calls open data source and it calls load merge, which is a different function in the importer. uh, uh, I want more coffee. I want to do some more cool stuff like tonight. So now it's hitting load merge. That's why I want to. That's what I want to do. Right. I want to write. So I want to do the following things. I want to do Excel import. Right? I want to do XLF editor mode. Something like that. XLF editor mode. I want to do server mode. Multi-threaded. I want to take our multi-document smart set and implement for it. I'm going to do this all in the next couple of hours. Just kidding. Multi-threaded is to be listen on port, and yeah, listen or electrons. I can actually do this all tonight, I bet, but it'll take a couple of coffees. Parts of it are already done, and parts of it are already things that I can just drop and change from existing things. Excel importer, multi-threaded HTTP server, import, blah blah blah. External access to the browser. This I don't know if I want to do because licensing. There's something else I wanted to work on. That was I don't know. That's enough for now. Retrieve settings from view. So I think the reason that other breakpoint didn't hit is that when we click on the MRU list, the recent list, French, Chinese, yes, that's not wrong. Okay. Now we get this F5. It creates a document, and we get merge data source, and and input CSV, F5, we should hit load merge. Voila. Okay. Then just import multi-column settings, CSV settings. This model view controller, right? Model view controller, the everywhere model view controller. That's the view or the dialog for editing the CSV settings. Retrieve settings from UI. And yeah, so we can say French signs, and this is actually really cool. It's very, very cool. I am gonna. It needs a bit more testing. I'm gonna let the monkeys, this monkeys automated stress test stuff. I'm gonna let the automated stress tests. These are French Chinese. And what's cool about this is, what I really like about this whole system now is, I actually really like this change I just made, because previously the application specific stuff was hard coded in the core library to the extent, whereas that's wrong. Like if you say file import CSV, it shouldn't, if you TL term, it should give you the TL term dialog. If you let's just test that. What's also nice about this is that it's also, what file did I select? That wasn't the right one. What's also nice about this is that I slightly understand the code of it again, because there's parts of the code that I've forgotten about. It just helps refresh my memory, like, hey, this is how that code worked. French Chinese, create a new dictionary, French Chinese, select our French Chinese CSV test, and this is really nice actually. And what's also nice about it is it's going to make it easier for French Chinese. Lemma, auto-erase lemma, and there we go, Chinese French. Okay, what's also nice about it is, yeah, it's going to make it a little bit easier to import data into the other applications like TLTerm. We'll go to config.h and select TLTerm. So what we want to do again, the Excel importer. Let's see if we can do that quickly. Like if we can do an Excel importer really quickly, then yeah, let's do it. We've already done, I don't think it'll take long. It might take long. But it'll be interesting to do as a test. We've got our some helpers already for other parts of the software that integrate with Excel. So we have here TC Control XL, which is a helper class, to help control Excel. Yeah. And it uses COM automation stuff, which is incredibly tedious, and in C++ especially. Very painful stuff. However, it's not going to be painful today because I've already done all the painful stuff, and now I just have some helper classes and functions, and we can just use those. And if we can do that in an hour, then we can move on to the next thing, which is XLF editor mode. And I'll have that done in like an hour later. Wildly optimistic. Okay. Is this thing still building? Come on, come on. I'm just talking because I'm waiting for it to finish building. Because I'm rebuilding the application now. This source code, it's about 200,000 lines of code. It takes a little while to compile. This is a fast machine. That's it compiles to any of 4 or 5 different applications depending on which setting is selected. Yeah. Okay. So now we're into our term. I'll import CSV. And the whole cool thing about this is previously this didn't work. Like you couldn't do this. But now it'll work. Like French. Let's see, Chinese is there. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's there. Okay. French and Chinese. My term base. Blah blah blah. Set up the user management. No. And now. Yeah, what's really cool about this, I love this. This is very nice, very neat, very, very neat. Now we got the DTD is full of terminology. French term, it's a terminology database, which is different to a dictionary. And boom, let's take a look. And we got our French Chinese term. As terminology. Voila. And it just, oh, I did check for it. I thought it crashed. I thought it crashed, but it didn't. So now again, if we click on the MRU, we get our opportunity. We have to then go do this again, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a bit of a pity you have to do that every time. Like, maybe it should remember the languages you had selected last. That's an idea. But yeah, one step at a time, one step at a time. So into our database mode, and let's check this differently once more. Now I'm going to quickly check those changes and commit them, and then do a build test and automated stress tests of those changes on another machine. And once that's done, I can work on something else more exciting. So, right, I have to check all those changes meticulously. It's safer to use a map here than the vector I had in any case. The map is safer because if the field doesn't exist, then it'll fill it in with a default thing, which will default to false. Whereas the vector I had, if it's out of range, would have just crashed. And it shouldn't be out of range, but I can actually think of situations where it might be. So, anyway, it should actually check if it exists, but whatever. If okay, default new, if it's still null, then return demerge. If demerge, then let's just add a So why doesn't this do the merge thing? Why doesn't this call merge data source? Surely this has the same bug then. Get. Oh, it does. It does. Of course it does. Yeah. What's going to happen? Document won't be null, so it goes straight on to merge right there. Yes. That's right. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. That message doesn't really make sense anymore. This is really long at all, to be honest. I'm not quite sure whether to delete it. Quite sure whether to delete it. February 2017. Up until now, CSV import was always created. So basically, CSV non-merge import just basically always created default TXT to be as wrong. This is the core generic library. The connotation should determine and if I get to do that, okay, this is largely done now. Let's try start CSV import. I'm going to log application relevant. Open this new terms only. And D, the desired correctly very created on this document created by the family here, and this should mean that this then it should merge that. If you go there, now just do it in case invert it. Fallback. Let's see how we do it. He uses right, phew, that's a mouthful. in the long run, let's try to get rid of this. Okay. And the notes, he also came 17th, 3rd, 16th, 17th, 3rd, So in another 10 years when I'm working on this code, yeah. And the okay, right, stop saying the oops. Stop saying file import to word list or CSV, and now we can either create an empty database or one of these templates, contacts, inventory, whatever. Space, okay, and yeah, what's cool then is boom, we've got it just doesn't make sense anymore, of course. But no, what's cool about this is, yeah, it's depending on the application. Like if you're in TL database, it creates a TL database file new dialog. If you're in TL term, it does a TL term file new. So if you're in TLX, it does a TLX file new. And so then by the time it gets to the actual CSV import, the DTD of your document has been set up with fields correctly relevant to what you're trying to do. This is really actually neat. I liked it, and I also like the, it bothered me in the past that we had that hard-coded stuff in the it bothered me in the past that that hard-coded stuff was just always creating a TLX DTD inside the load of the CSV. TLX being dictionary stuff. Let's commit these changes and move on to something more interesting. Why is this labeled merge only? Um, 16 semester. And change this V import. Application. Now enable start import. It shows an application relevant. What needed And what's nice about my changes also is they're going to work for any importer that, any merger, any importer. Say, well, you know, some new format, whatever I need to import, like Excel, say, you do it just the same way, and I'm going to get the same process. These flags are very confusing, but you know, there's quite a, yeah, anyway. Save copy, save as, export, open, import, can merge only, network formatted, export entry is file, anyway, right, so, I'm just getting ready to commit these changes. File, this is now, let's never go down anymore, and can we think of a better way to say that? For users, because in the users we do want to add this to the change flag, absolutely. Expectly, hold on. Nice. No, sure. Now we can vote. Sounds weird. Now we invoke mega campaign. It will actually activate but I don't know, if I'm a user, I'm like, what the hell is that? Must be a more exciting way to say it. No, it's much better. There we go. Voila, there's my changes. Yeah, that's it. I'm done thinking about it. Okay. Start. No, it's much better. No, it's better. Yeah, just like that. No, it's better. Alright. That's terrible. That's very, what's gonna have to do for now? Okay. I can see. Okay, because openly on the extract when you're gonna click here and there okay, that's gonna have to be because I'm already done. That's it. No more. Is enough for the day. Not for the day, I mean enough for... Definitely not enough for the day. I'm definitely going to do more programming. I'm not done programming for the day. But I'm definitely done with this change. And I've had to do it in 3 places now, that's really getting on my nerves. Okay, I index. That line can go. And we commit that. Yay, I'm so done with that feature. Okay, I need to do a build test, so I'm going to fire up a VM on that machine. And then I want to start maybe just a quick proof of concept experiment with the Excel importer. Let's try Excel importer. Or should we try XLIF editor mode? Or should we use a polls? Use a poll. Use a poll. The word on Excel or XLIF editor mode. This is like okay. I'm hoping if I can do the Excel importer really quickly, like if I can really race. Let's see how quickly I can do it. What do I need to do? I need GRD. I need to copy and paste all the CSV input stuff. As a proof of concept, I could just actually never mind that. No, I should. I wonder if it should be separate from the CSV import, or if the CSV import should just be the Excel import. That's one vote for Excel. Alright. I'm just wondering if I should do a separate menu item. File, import Excel. Or if internally it's going to use the import CSV. Or is it? I don't know. Let's it's a bit confusing because it won't be easy to change the existing one unless I do like take your Excel file and convert it to a temp text file. I see a temporary CSV file behind the scenes, which is one approach. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I scan the Excel document, save it in the temp folder somewhere as a CSV file, and then point the behind the scenes like automatically, and then point the CSV importer at that file. It won't be the CSV importer, it will be the Excel importer, but it will use the same class or inherit from it. or we could inherit. Can't use inheritance in some interesting way. The thing is, I don't think that stuff is terribly well written. The import CSV, okay, we got our import CSV dialog. And here's the thing, I want to try to keep the dialog the same. Because the dialog, not the same, but basically the same. Because importing from Excel, it's very much the same as importing from CSV in a way, in that it's a all these same options apply. You know, you've got to select which columns map to which XML fields. And what do I list of CSV options? Unless we skip this and do something new and different. No, why throw away all this? Well, it'll be more user-friendly. This is a bit confusing. I mean, it's not very clear immediately to users. You have to think. I mean, what's very unclear is this list, which goes down, is actually your columns. And this list is not your columns, but it's literally all the available fields. So it's a bit confusing. Anyway, well, I don't find it confusing. It's very obvious to me, but I suspect it might be confusing to users. Enable multiple, so that must be automatically ticked if we're loading Excel, and it mustn't say comma separated values everywhere. Text will have to change. Other than that, it's basically the same thing. There's one difference. You could have multiple sheets, but for now I'm not going to support that. Alright, let's stop talking and start coding. It's perfectly functional. Yeah, it's pretty advanced what's going on there, but you know, there's yeah, it's definitely not going to happen now. One reason it's not a priority is that this is a feature that virtually none of our users ever use. And even when they do, it'll be something they use like once, ever, or like once a year. So it's not a priority to, you know, it's not a deep priority to fix the UI. It's like it's a quite a technical thing that you know is inherently slightly more advanced than the average user. So it's not, you know, if it was something users were using every day, but it's not. It's like, you know, probably less than 5% of our users ever use it. And the ones who do are going to use it once a year at most. You know, and even if we up that, a user who uses it a lot will be like 3 times a year. Because it doesn't naturally fit into the workflow anyway. It's like you're importing data. It's like a thing you do once, or a thing you do like now and again. So it's not the top priority on the things on my to-do list, is to improve the user interface of that. of something that users hardly ever use. Like, if I'm going to spend 3 days rewriting that thing, I'd rather spend 3 days on something that's going to have more impact. You know, for 80% of our users. Like the stuff I did last weekend, that multi-document search stuff. You know, large percentage of users are going to get very high value out of that. So it's like a cost-benefit analysis. Yeah. Yeah, if Uh, uh, um, so this thing. Oh, generate GUID. Trying to think where this should live now. Should it be even a separate thing? I'm not sure. Should I air source? Or should it just be another file type on the CSV? If it's just another file type on the CSV, I'm not sure people are going to find it. Plus later there might be more advanced things that don't. Uh, uh, just want to check something quickly. Where are we now? Average. So, okay. Right. I don't like GUIDs, but every now and then they do serve a purpose. I don't know why I don't like them. I can't even explain it. I think it's partly because in my mind they're a Microsoft thing, and I was never a fan of Microsoft. But yeah, they're growing on me now. Microsoft. Yeah, the new alternatives are worse. Right, so we want to do import Excel. I don't know yet if we're going to want this thing, but let's do it first. Select Excel, and that we're going to do correct from the start. Okay. There's about correct delete correct T. Allocate Excel import. Never mind, let me correct this here. Allocate Excel import. So for now, I'm just gonna kind of set this up parallel, yeah. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing or where this is going. I'm just gonna kind of wing it. But now I'm gonna allocate the importer as a CSV behind the scenes, but I'm gonna register it as a separate thing, and XLS X. I think correct format. There is no such thing as file type Excel in our thingy, so I'm gonna have to change this to Excel files. It might be handy in future to have a multiple files option, but not now. Not gonna happen now. Focus, 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 focus. The string copy data source to HTC file name. Now select data source Excel. Now we're gonna register this thing. Why is there a bunch of blank lines there? Did I forget to commit something? No. Oh, I was messing around there. The flag import merge image. Allocate Excel import data source Excel and I wonder if we should put Excel, Microsoft Excel. What is Excel? Allocate user importer. Find. Okay, that is obviously a bit silly. It's not going to do anything interesting. Somewhere you have to do something that alright, and we must create a test file. Okay, so we're going to go Excel. Take those. Let's start with that French Chinese just for interest. Blank document. This is very experimental. Find. I don't know what find is. This is not English. Let's make this English Chinese. Because I don't know French. Alright. Okay, let's put a few in there. Cancel. Right, desktop. No, let's go. Let's manage Excel importer. Test. Excel import test. Right, so it's got, yeah, just a few simple entries. And then we want to say import, that failed. Now somewhere, and I'm not sure where, let's just go back into TL term mode. I think for this one. That's a TL term mode, yes. Import CSV. We do have these helpers already. Multi-column process row, you know, that's going to be effectively called anyway. Import load list process line CSV. So that process is one CSV row. There's the settings dialog. Maybe we should inherit from the CSV importer. And there where it says load, we convert to a temporary file, and then temporary CSV file. And it's an experiment, let's try it. Okay, so we can use import a CSV. And we're in the CPP file, so we can inherit from this. Okay, and add a couple of small things. So that's our IO Excel. Okay. Open data source, get the source. Maybe all we need to change is open data source. That's in the parent. So temp file. I don't know, and then just import implement these functions. This is very experimental. My memory of this code is a bit vague. So here we're going to call C import CSV. Open data source. And you're going to want to put these in. Enough. But this is a bit tricky. The parent class. Maybe I'll have to change the parent class. Open data source. Oh, that's what it does. That's not very complicated. So we don't want to override that. That's fine. What we want to override then is load dictionary. No. Load merge. This is the part that it goes a little bit awry. We need to hook in here basically. Look, we can do what we want here. I mean, it's not like we can't change this. So you must remember, we could just change this base class as well. And now let's think ahead. What if we wrote a other type of columnar data importers, like LibreOffice Calc, for example, or some other format? Then we could try to do this in a way that says any multi-column format we do Yeah, so we could do something like, if we approach them all in the same way, like, it's a bit gross, the temp file, or virtualize that, add a virtual function here for the open. That could work. It could work, but I'm not sure if it's the best approach for other formats. This stuff is quite complex. Everywhere where it references MS data source, it's going to be like wrong. Because MS data source will be the Excel file. I think for now, because I just need to do this quickly, I'm going to add a virtual function. Let's see, just as an experiment. It's just an experiment. Okay. I mean, I can always change the design later. Once you've done it, you have a better idea what the design should be anyway. So we're going to call some new virtual text file, or whatever, helper. Or even just, open text file. Or maybe even just this. Could become a virtual function. And then we something like the actual file name. So assuming it's a bit silly. C import Excel. Right, we don't want to override the data source anymore. Or maybe, I don't know. But we do want to add a protected virtual function. Returns the standard W string. There, Visual Studio deleted my stuff again. Okay. This is virtual. Must be virtual, and we're going to add that in the base class as well. And the base class implementation very simply returns, yeah, that's the normal regular CSV import. Okay. This implement one, however, will return temp file. Okay. And then we're just at the correct points. Must create the temp file. Got some helpers already for creating temp file names. So now we need to do something like this. And I'm not sure where, but I guess we can do it in open data source. Okay, ms temp file equals wx to ws, wx file name excel common. I think it's supposed to be really short. I don't know, whatever. Okay, let's start up there. Create a temp file. This should probably be like hash if deft. Excel. I have finished using this. Started doing this one. Anyway, so input Excel open data source, so create temp file name, and doesn't matter the extension, empty file exists, okay, return success. Otherwise, I don't know if anyone even checks the return value of this. Zero means cancelled. I think -1 means error. Not sure. Anyway. Okay. We should, I don't know if we can, we have this, fix future, fix future. Okay. So if it correctly created the, and now here's where we can do a conversion. Excel, or app. Okay. So now we're going to do something similar in principle to this, but wait a minute, that just creates a file name. Or does it create the file? I don't know. Just fix file name. Remove. I see in the past we did things like this. It's a bit weird. There could be something similar. Anyway, the file won't exist. Or it will exist. I think I must do this in debug mode. Yeah. Okay. Init. Okay. And now basically instead of this stuff, we can even start with that just to test. Okay. Get the and then we've got some helpers to do this. Does this make sense? I don't know. I'm not sure if we can this part. I don't know if that line understood is right. Okay. fp out. fp out. Change this by n. Oh, this is very crude and wrong. Okay. But I'm just going to write one value for now. And somewhere we have a helpers to scope CSV as well. So we have tons of helpers. That's what helps here. I've got helpers for everything. So it's really just a matter of, you know, like escaping a CSV string. I mean, it's not a trivial task on its own, but it's not, I mean, it is trivial, but it's not, I mean, it's not like a few seconds. It's more like, it's done. So we want WSTUTF-8C, yeah, WX to WS. Basically that's what we want. Where does that come from? I think negative E. That's exactly what we want, something like this. Yep. Okay. Let's excel that. Obviously this is not doing columns yet. Okay. It's just doing one silly little value. Okay. Let's just do back segment separately. But now we're going to change that to iterate. It'll have to get the active sheet. I think there's a I see there's a file called import Excel already. It looks like I already tried to create an Excel importer before, but I don't think I got very far. Indeed, interesting. Now that, where is that? Where is it now? Shared. I don't want it in shared anyway. Shared, there's import CSV now. Even worse, in the application. I want it in the core library. I want both of them, all of them in the core library. It's not going to happen now. Include so now I'm setting time right. Yeah, little trackish. Yeah, 3 in the morning. Okay, so now that thing that just says get active cell value, that's obviously silly. That's just going to get like one. Oh, and it doesn't actually open the document. So we're going to have to do a bunch of things now. It's actually non-trivial at all. I don't know. Let's maybe inherit from, because this is an experiment. I think I'm going to just, for now, just inherit experiment. Inherit from this class. Class control Excel experiment. That's way too much typing. Test. I hate calling things test. I never call things test. Sorry, not good. Anyway, I'm gonna call it test. debugging for, I'm going to add a new function called convert document convert CSV test. Why? Because I hate calling things test. So let's do it again. Okay. Yes. And so the source file name. So yeah, we're going to do something like this. So we create that. So UTF-8 text file. And it's very important that we create a UTF-8 text file with the signature. And this is weird because older versions of Excel had a bug. And that was actually a problem with Excel. And we had a lot of people complain about our software, and the problem was actually Excel. Well, not a lot of people, but a couple of people had issues, including me. I was one of them. But the problem, the problem wasn't our software. The problem was Excel. But I think it's fixed in the new Excel. Yeah, it is. But anyway, it's a good idea to create a UTF-8 text file with the BOM, with the UTF-8 beginning of a marker, because then that lets the CSV importer know that it's a UTF-8 file, even if there's ambiguity, potential ambiguity with the encoding. So instead of this, in addition to doing this, we're gonna call up dots, and yeah, we're gonna call it xlx. Yeah, we call the original data source name and out. Boom. Right. And now we start doing the interesting stuff. Almost. Almost at the interesting stuff. So basically, we're going to take this thing that does the active cell value stuff, but not do the active cell stuff. Bye-bye. Okay. So we're going to open the file name. We're going to have to tell it to load the document, and I have no idea how to do this. This is completely new to me. I have never done this. Or have I? What about the feeling I have? Excel document. This automation object. I could have sworn somewhere the other day. Have I ever done this? I don't know. I've done it with the word. I've done like load document or open or whatever. Yeah, look, I've done this with the word. Maybe I'm thinking of this. I've got to get, I don't know if it's the same as Word. In Word, you get something called documents, and then you got to, on documents, you've got to call open, which takes a bunch of parameters. Now, the other day, I think it was this, product builder. So now we've got to automate Excel to say open the document. And then we're going to have to do something like get active sheet if the document succeeds. I've never done this before. It's an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work. I presume it must be possible to do all this. But I could run into snags. It might not even be possible. I doubt it though, it's probably possible. The, where was the other period I did this? Excel automation document. Let's see if there's some simple samples to follow. Workbooks dot open. That could be on the right track. So instead of documents, we have to get workbooks. Let's try get workbooks. Let's search our code for workbooks just in case I've done something like this before. And look at that, there's code workbooks. Wow, that's crazy. Where is this? Import Excel.cvb. So I started working on this before. Look at that. That's crazy. I didn't realize how far I got. So, workbooks open. I've done this before. That's crazy. But it definitely wasn't. It looks like, yeah, what the hell? Look at this. Hard-coded Martin Crillon. This was a specific importer. So I've done this as an experiment, but hard-coded to a specific importer. I don't even know if it worked, because this was, how long ago? 2012. 6 years ago. Sheet, get property item, used range. Here's all the stuff I need. This is fantastic. The rows count, the columns count. But I'm going to rewrite it differently. Now, and all this stuff, like ignore first row and all that stuff, I don't want to be doing that nonsense. I want to rather convert it to temp file. Call method close. And all this code I want to change because, yes, but this is probably going to be useful. Probably very useful. Okay, so yeah, we say dot get property and all this code. Okay, old code is okay. Very workbooks equals to property workbooks. If not null, then we get an automation object on the workbooks. Workbooks. Get an automation object for the workbooks. Okay. And now every time we're open equals workbooks.call method open. Just the real one here. That file name will be in .NET. This is so much simpler. You just like say dot open. Oh. It's like, it makes you want to cry actually, if you think about the difference in required effort. It's like, anyway, in like .NET, C#.NET, you know, it's like one line of code. Okay. And you just type dot and it fills the autocomplete fills in the function names and everything. But yeah, it's like I spend like a day time, just okay. So if open is null, or rather if it's not null, then we go to the next step, which is to get a workbook automation object on result of their open. Okay, and now we get the worksheets. We gotta get the stuff sheets, which is done by calling workbook get property worksheets. Fix me. What is the difference, if any, between sheets and worksheets? Here you got me. Anyway, it's my comment, obviously. Worksheets on worksheets. Okay. Right, num sheets equals sheets get property. We could iterate over all the sheets. I don't know if it's a good or a bad idea, but it seems like sheets. Oh, it looks like we have the code to do it, so let's do it. This is the interesting part. It really helps that I sort of went through this before, but I don't know if it's going to work. I don't even know if it worked the first time, to be honest. Sheet options, skip sheet. That I don't want to do like that. Alright, go under this. Let's just test it builds before we make this more complicated, because the nesting here is getting quite hectic, and it's only going to get worse. Syntax error. I think what I must do quickly before I continue is maybe get coffee. No, that wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to say, although that would be nice. Right. Avoid function returning the value. Yeah, let's. I don't know if this is the right way to go, but anyway, it's an experiment, and we can always change it later if it turns out to not be the right way to go. We can refactor it once we, once you sit with real world applications and real world users saying, "Let this document," becomes a lot. That stuff's in there. And yeah, the automation stuff. Yeah, so let's go. There's something else I want to add to the code. That's just to help make this more readable. That work. Oops. And this is so convenient. This saves me a lot of time. Phew. You'd think I would remember doing all this. Anyway. This was 2012-05. 2012-05. Trying to think why. So now for each sheet we call this, and we get the used range. Okay. Where item equals sheets.getProperty item unbased index. You see those questions like that I had are now answered. And sheet where item range should have properly used range. Okay. W's automation object range. This, I don't know why I used to do it so, this is much neater and tidier than all these pointers. Okay. Let's see if we get this far. Now we got to iterate. What are we going to do? Get property value 2. And let's see what we did here. For rows, columns. Wow, it's not even trivial. You got to do all this stuff. This is a bit more complicated than I thought. Can't you just call value and dump it? Value it. Probably. Why do you have to do all this? These are the values. Oh, we call range get property values. Wow, what if it's really big? What if it's really big? I don't know if this is shouldn't we just get a value at a time? Or is that going to be one value at a time, or is that going to be really slow? I don't know. I'm going to copy and paste this code. Into here. Value equals get property, and I'm going to just stick through it. Value 2. I don't know if that's right. Oh, value 2. 2. Oh, value 2, that's a thing. Like, I think we should just call get value. We get date time, but double value becomes 0. And get date time returns 1970. Yeah, I seem to have had problems with value. I guess I can use that V. Stick to the V, okay? And V value set is type list. That list, I think, I don't know about that. Static kind equals, yeah, okay. Plus R plus C. That we don't want to do, because that's not up to the CSV import, to the ignore first row stuff. Okay. All we want to do is, so we don't want to process the row either. We don't want to do any of the processing here. Instead of push back value, gosh, if this actually works first time, okay, that's probably optimistic. That's really optimistic. So instead of pushing back the value in the row, okay, I've been working for like hours and I'm about to get it working, and you're like, okay, you know what? Okay, all this stuff, this value, date different F parts, S. I'm going to do this, but just on S value. That's a lot of funny little conversions going on there. It's pretty straightforward though. We convert WX string to WX string, which is what? Oh no, this takes a That's right in the first place. So this one actually has to take S to the X, like so. And this is the interesting part of the code, is to actually write something. So if C greater than 0, if printf, without a comma, and for each interval of columns, if I do out, and move on. It's either going to crash or, okay, I think let's just do a safety check here. Safety set. Or should we safety set? That's a bit hectic. I think let's just do it. I guess we do want to know. That's the question. I want to know if that's it. Because it shouldn't happen. Okay. Range dot property. I must have had the API reference set up nicely to be checking all out the APIs. I don't have it now set up. I don't even remember how. File, import, Excel file. English. I shouldn't even bother because this is just going to crash the first time. Okay. Let's get that step. And now, moment of truth, or moment of crashing. Excel input test. English term, Chinese term. "38 rows, right? No. What? Yeah, that worked beautifully. Check it out, Excel data just there. Right, why? I don't know why. Right, no, I don't know why. Let's just go look. That should be Excel, that's why. To start with. This active cell value stuff should disappear. And it should also it may delete the temp file and then. That's not important, just do like everyone else and just let it clutter up the temp folder. Just kidding. We're not that sloppy, are we? Okay. In theory, just clicking on that should work. Add English. Chinese. Okay. Okay, we're getting further this time. Let's go to our temp folder. I should have hit another breakpoint there. What we need to do is check the log. Log text. It definitely went wrong somewhere. Because hit this breakpoint. But yeah, let me step through it one by one. Just step through it line by line. PR desired. We got ourselves a temp file. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, actually, it's like I'm doing all this really complex Excel automation code and then like make really dumb errors like that. Beginner mistake errors. Anyway, if you had equals now, return false. Okay. Yeah, if Chinese, sometimes I got myself. Okay, right. F5, F10. Boom, we're going in now. Oops, that failed. Why? Did we call init? Let's check. Yes. That's really odd. I haven't seen that fail before. Why did that fail? I've never had a fail there. Just put a breakpoint there again. So we do call init. Let's check the code compared to this code. Okay. That looks really straightforward. Oh, that failed. I wonder if the application's closed. But shouldn't matter. Oh, get an interface to the running instance. But the whole point is that it's supposed to create an instance. Okay, now we have a running instance. Okay, and let's check it again. We shouldn't have to open the Excel file manually.